Good morning. My name is Amy and we're here at Beautiful Gardens. And while it may be blustery outside, there's lots of things that we can do inside right now as far as starting our gardens and scratching our itch for green things and also benefiting our health. So what we're going to talk about this morning is microgreens. Previously on our Facebook Live, we've talked about sprouts. And there is a difference between the two, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about just how easy it is for you to do this yourself at home. And not only that, but we have all the supplies that you need to do this yourself at home so easily, and it's so rewarding and so nutritious. So this morning what we've got, this is what I've started at home. This is about 10 days ago that I started this, and this is wheatgrass. The kit that you'll see this in is one that we sell here. The brand is Farmer U, and they're so easy. They have everything that you need in the kit except for the seeds, but the seeds are right by the kit, so you can pick them up both easily and start this at home. The kit itself includes a growing tray and a coir mat and a humidity dome, as well as detailed instructions. The seeds that we have above, we've got a little nice variety of some really great ones to start with: wheatgrass, turnips, sunflowers, mustards, arugula, basil, and broccoli. So this kit here, what you do to start it is you are going to open it up and you're going to take the cocoa coir mat out. And you're going to clean your little tray here just to make sure everything is nice and ready to go. And you're going to set your mat back in and you're going to soak it with water. Tap water is just fine. You should let it though soak for about an hour. That's going to make sure that the mat is fully saturated. Then you're going to take your seeds. So what we did this morning is the wheatgrass seeds here. And right here you can see what they look like. You can see that these are kind of a bigger seed, which also means that you're going to ensure success with something like this. It's not going to take a terrible long time to germinate, as microgreens don't in general, but these ones are one of the quicker ones that you can choose. You're going to, after your mat is soaked, you're going to sprinkle the seeds across. Just sprinkle them so that they're evenly distributed. You don't have to do a certain amount. You can do as many as you'd like, or you can do just a few. The nice thing about the microgreens is that you can do a little bit more than you think you're going to eat in a week, because what we're doing here is basically cut and eat as you go. So with the sprouts, you want to make sure to eat them in a specific amount of time, usually 2 or 3 days after they're ready to go. These ones here, you're just cutting them as you're ready to eat them. You can see that very quickly you're going to have quite a good crop. This is just 10 days later after I've sprouted them. But what I'll tell you now is where we begin after getting the seeds on the mat and the mat is soaked. So they don't require light to germinate. So you're going to want to keep them out of the light. It's going to take maybe 2 days, possibly 3 days for them to start sprouting. But once they do start sprouting, then you can move them into even just a sunny windowsill. The most ideal would be a south-facing direct light, but it doesn't take a whole lot of light. And if you want to make them go even faster, you can put them under a grow light if you do have one. So once they start germinating, you're going to take this plastic humidity dome off of the top. So this is what it comes with. This is what you're going to have on top once you sprinkle the seeds and you're waiting for them to germinate. 3 days pass, 2 days pass, they're germinated, and you take this off because they no longer need the humidity dome. They're germinated, and then that's when you're putting it in your sunny window. And then you're giving it about 7 more days once they start germinated, and they're about this tall, a couple inches tall, and they're ready to cut and enjoy. So a lot of people like to use wheatgrass in smoothies, different things like that. But like I said, there's a lot of other different ones that you can choose from. So some of the different ones like arugula and such, those ones you can go ahead and cut and use on a salad or any kind of application. And to note, some microgreens will regrow after you've cut them because they do still have that root intact. So that's going to bring us to the major difference between microgreens and sprouts, is that when you're eating sprouts, you're eating the whole thing, the seed, the stem, the roots, and the leaves. With microgreens, typically, you're going to be cutting them off at the level here of the mat, and you're going to be eating the stem and the greens, the cotyledon, which is the seed leaves, and then usually what you do is let it get to the first set of true leaves. So with the wheatgrass, you're not so much seeing that, but with something like arugula or basil, that will be where you're going to see the second set, or the first set of true leaves rather. So that will let you know when they're ready to harvest and enjoy. Some other big things that are different between microgreens and sprouts is how you are growing them. So with microgreens, you're going to be using light and water in a growing medium, and with sprouts they're going to be in a dark and damp kind of environment. So as you saw with the video with Cindy, you want to make sure to keep rinsing those so that you're not coming across anything like bacteria or mold. With these here, as long as you're not getting them contaminated with the growing medium or the soil below them, that's not an issue. So you're just cutting and enjoying them. Let's see, what else can I talk to you about here with regards to these? So for the seeds specifically, with the sprouting seeds, you're going to use specifically sprouting seeds because they are grown in a way that they are going to be very sterile for you to use in a wet environment. With the microgreens, the same is true. However, it's less important for the sterilization because you are just cutting above the surface and you're not coming into contact with any of the pathogens, as well as they're not growing in a wet environment.
I have one question.
Yeah.
So these kits have the mat. Can you use soil to grow microgreens?
Sure. Yes, you can use soil. What is recommended if you're going to use soil is a potting mix, and we have an example here that we sell in the store, which is the Black Gold, our natural and organic potting mix. As well as potting mix, another option is cocoa coir. Cocoa coir is a really nice option because it's a very light, fluffy material. Something that you might want to use particularly the potting soil for over the cocoa coir would be one of the options that it's going to take a little bit longer to germinate. So something like broccoli, for example, would be a good choice because it's going to have a little bit more nutrients to it that is going to aid in that little bit longer germination. Yep. Then also, I can tell you some of the easiest ones that we have to start with, and that's going to be the broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, mustard, chia, sunflower, or buckwheat. We also have mixes available, and those are going to have greens that are selected that they have a similar germination growth rate, which makes it really easy for beginners as well.
And then one more question. Do you recommend a heat mat if someone's growing?
Yeah, sure. A heat mat really isn't necessary. They're not really going to be establishing an extensive amount of roots because this process is all about quick germination. So we're harvesting them before they really are needing to put down a substantial root system to grow the mature vegetable or green.
Do these regrow?
Some of them can. There are varieties that are more able to do that than others. I would say some things that are going to have an easier time at regrowing would be things like your greens, arugula, salad mixes, that sort of thing. Ones that are going to have a tougher time to regrow would be like pea shoots, for example.
One more question. Are there any microgreens you wouldn't recommend eating just to grow?
Sure. Some of the things that are less recommended that it's not a huge concern, but as a slight concern would be things like radishes. They're a little more susceptible to disease than others, but really the risk is minimal. So. Okay, so that covers what we wanted to talk about today. And as we wrap up, I'm just going to show you a few more key items. So what you want for watering is something that's going to have a long, thin spout so that you can have a nice, easy stream of water when you're adding water. One thing to note when growing these is that you want to keep it moist. So you're going to do it every day. You're going to give it a little bit of water. Alternatively, you can mist it with water if you've got something that's a little more delicate, like a salad green. And we've just got a variety of different lovely watering cans here that have a nice spout on them. And then to note, once you've already got the kit, we also sell replacement pads to put in the kit. So you can just keep going. After you've harvested your first batch, try another seed.
Can you reuse the mat?
I would not reuse the mat. It's going to be really pretty encased in the root from the prior one. And also, you do want to keep a level of sanitation. You don't want to have potential pathogens and pests and diseases. So I would recommend a new mat each time. So that kind of covers everything about microgreens. We hope that you'll come over to Gertens and check out our selection of seeds and kits and get going in your kitchen. Add some nutritious microgreens to your diet and have a little bit of green on your counter.